We've gone over the requirement definition, the benefits of deploying, and the definitions, and now we're going to go into the setup steps required to deploy the customer acceptance in Release 12. The setups required for deploying customer acceptance are as follows. The system administrator, you need to enable the sales order function security within your responsibility menus. The two functions you need to enable are the sales order fulfillment acceptance and sales order update acceptance attributes. Those are required to allow a user to get into the order information portal from the forms. The second setup is when you're defining your user under System Administrator, you need to assign the order information portal responsibility to that user, whether they're an internal user for customer service or an external user, an actual customer user. If you're a customer, you would also additionally need to define a contact association with that user. That allows that customer to sign in and only see their records associated with their account. On the order management side, the most critical setup is the OM system parameter enable fulfillment acceptance. That needs to be set to yes. Without setting that to yes, nothing will happen in terms of customer acceptance functionality. Optionally, in order management, you can add the customer acceptance data fields to any public folders, or users could add them to their personal folders. In receivables under revenue management, the revenue contingencies need to be defined, and again, those are also referred to as deferral reasons, and then in order management, the acceptance names. Additionally, on the revenue contingency, you have the option of also assigning, they're called assignment rules, which basically create a link to the revenue contingency of criteria to automatically insert that acceptance name to a sales order based on the assignment rule information. Here's an example of the order management acceptance data fields that are available to add to the folders on the Others tab on the standard sales order form as well as the quick sales order forms. Some of the fields are, for example, the acceptance comments, acceptance date, acceptance expire event, acceptance expire days, acceptance reference document, acceptance quantity, or accepted quantity, and then implicit acceptance. Here's an example of the sales order line organizer with those fields added into the folder. I've updated the prompts so they're a little bit more intuitive to me, as well as it gave me more landscape to get more fields into my folder. If we go across from left to right, we start out with the sales order number. The sales order line workflow status reflects the line status, so I have some that are pending post-billing, some are closed, some are pending pre-billing. My CA name is my customer acceptance name, which again is my deferral reason or my revenue contingency. Implicit CA is implicit customer acceptance, and that's a yes or no, not is it applicable. So if it's checked, it means it's been customer accepted via the implicit concurrent program. If it's null, that means it's either pending or not applicable. Actual SCD is actual ship confirm date. And that's just there for information, so as a user, when I query up my records, I can say, okay, here's my actual ship confirm date, my expire event is ship confirm date, and my expire value is 1. So I should have a CA date value on X date. So it's more of a way of me just monitoring my records to make sure I'm getting things accepted timely, and I'm invoicing and or updating my revenue recognition timely as well. Now we're going to go into the setups examples for the revenue management, for revenue contingencies. You'll see that in the center of the screen we start out with the navigator and the forms, and then when we go into the actual contingency definition, it actually is a browser form. Revenue management has a blend of both, depending on where you're going. In the revenue contingency, you're going to start out by giving it a deferral reason, which is naming it, and then you're going to say, okay, what is my removal event for this deferral reason? And again, your deferral reason is just as simple as pre-billing or post-billing. Your removal event is based on whatever you name it. So if I'm pre-billing, remember my removal event will always be invoicing. If I'm post-billing, my removal event will always be customer acceptance. And then you would click go and you go to the detail screen. Here you'll see you just get more header information if you want to add more detail to the header. A description, a note if applicable, start and end dates, that type of information. The general policy section, it defaults to no, and according to all documentation should be left at no for the current release of customer acceptance. Then you're brought into your contingency removal event section, which then you can add the detail to it. So this is where you say, okay, I want my removal event to be invoicing, that defaulted from the header, and then I want it to be tied to an event attribute of ship confirm. You'll see there's other values that are available, but the current one that is supported is ship confirm. And there's talk of actually eliminating the proof of delivery option because it's not supported in OTM, and since OTM has replaced transportation, they don't see it as being used going forward. So you would select ship confirm if you want to set up a safety net, and then you would go and apply the appropriate grace period to that date window. So how long do you want to give them after the ship confirm date before you automatically accept it, whether it generates an invoice and revenue recognition, or whether it just updates your revenue recognition. From there, you can actually go in and then create your assignment rule, which again links a set of criteria to that revenue contingency. So based on different criteria, you can say, okay, based on this, this, and this, I want this rule always to apply. So if my customer bill-to site, if it's Gold's Gym in Buffalo, New York, that bill-to site, I want them always to have the pre-bill implicit where the ship confirm expire window is 14 days. So 14 days, after that we're going to automatically accept everything, and they would generate their invoice and revenue recognition. Here's an example of when the assignment rule is set up. You'll notice that in the criteria section it says match all. I only have one data set up. I can do match any, and then I can have multiple customers that tie to this rule, or I could have multiple criteria, and if it matched any of it, it would automatically apply it on the sales order line when I'm entering it.